Your phone can reach something your eyes cannot, a band of light so ancient it has been traveling since before humans learned to write. And on the cold morning before dawn breaks, for exactly 8 minutes it rises low enough to see. This is the galactic core, the heart of our galaxy, where supermassive black holes spin and millions of stars crowd so close together that if you stood there, night would never come. It is 26,000 light-years away. That means the photons hitting your sensor left that place when the earliest humans were learning to control fire. They have been traveling at 186,000 miles per second ever since, and they chose to arrive exactly when you were standing in the cold with your phone. Most of the time, the galactic core is invisible to the naked eye. Not because it's too faint, it's because the dust between us and it blocks almost all visible light. It's like trying to see a city through 1,000 miles of fog. But your phone's night mode doesn't just gather light, it does something more desperate. It holds the shutter open for seconds while the sensor absorbs photons. It amplifies the signal. It turns grain, the noise of the sensor straining, into information. And in those seconds, in that darkness, something impossible happens. The ghost of the galactic core begins to resolve. But here's what nobody tells you. You cannot move. You are standing in the pre-dawn cold, your hands braced against a fence post because they shake from cold, from anticipation, from the weight of the moment. Your breath must be held for the full 10 seconds the shutter stays open. Because if you move, if your chest shifts, if your shoulders tremor, if the cold makes you flinch, the image dissolves. The grain becomes chaos, the moment disappears, the frontier stays closed. You have to hold stillness like it's a survival skill, and your body will argue with you. The temperature is near freezing. The wind cuts sideways, your fingers are numb, but you hold. Because you know what's about to happen. The instant the core resolves on your screen, the map of what's accessible rewrites itself. That is the moment we are after, not the image itself, not the final output in bright daylight where everything is polished and clear. Moment right there in the dark, when the band first becomes visible on your screen, when you realize that a rectangle of glass and silicon you paid for and carry in your pocket has just reached 26,000 years of light and pulled it down. That the frontier, the thing you were told required observatories and priesthoods and access you would never have, was actually always within arm's reach. You just needed to understand the grammar of night, to learn to hold still, to wait for the exact 8-minute window when the galactic core rose low enough to matter. That moment rewrites something in the viewer, not metaphorically, neurologically. The set of things you believe are out of reach just got smaller, and here's what makes it stranger. When you look at that image on your screen, you see grain, noise, imperfection. Scientists will tell you this is a flaw, a limit of the sensor, a degradation of the true signal. But they are wrong. That grain is not a flaw, it is a fingerprint. It is proof that a real sensor, strained to its absolute limit, reached for something distant and grasped it. It is the signature of a device built for daytime doing something it was never designed to do, pushed into territory where it could barely function, and succeeding anyway. The imperfection is the proof, the noise is the witness. Clean, noiseless images of the galactic core exist. The Hubble Space Telescope made them, but those images cost hundreds of millions of dollars and decades of human effort and access that 99% of the world will never have. The grainy image on your phone cost you $30 a month and the willingness to stand in the cold. The second argument is not the same as the first. The second argument says, you can reach. You have always been able to reach. You just did not know the grammar of reaching. We live in a time when most people believe the frontier is gone, that everything worth discovering has already been discovered, that the map is complete and the interesting parts are owned by people richer, earlier, more credentialed than we are. But your phone, standing in that cold, holding that image, it argues against that story. The galactic core has been rising at dawn since before we existed, and it only became visible to us when we learned to listen in the dark. There are other things rising at dawn that we have not learned to see yet, other frontiers, other languages of reaching. The fact that you could stand in your yard and pull down 26,000 years of light suggests something larger, that the world is not as mapped as we have been told, that access has been redrawn by technologies we didn't expect, that the priesthood of expertise is smaller than it claims. But here is the question that stays with you after the image fades. What else is rising at dawn that we have not yet learned to see? What other light has been traveling for millennia, waiting for us to develop the grammar to receive it? What frontier is rising right now, visible to anyone willing to stand in the cold and hold still? The galactic core will rise again tomorrow morning. It will rise for centuries more, and every time it does, a pocket-sized device can reach it. But the real question is not about the galactic core. It is about what other doors have been left open by technologies we barely understand, doors that lead into territory we were told was unreachable. The core will still be rising. The question is, who else will learn to see?